Yes. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's Auto Rhythm Fantasy Sports. I just had a dumbfound just blah moment at the second because I was just gonna say, wait, it's our waiver edition time and whatever hell you want to call it. But yeah, I was just like, uh, brain just stopped working for a moment. So I apologize, guys. Um, yes. So we got Eli's Fab Five, and
Wake up! Wake up!
and I have my waivers sleeper six. So if you're actually playing a sleeper, I got some sleeper guys, and Eli has some Yahoo guys. So yes. So Eli, go ahead. Who do we have on today's
It's
meal?
let's get the main course here. We got some sides there. Got some dinner rolls over here. Pass the cranberry sauce. Somebody got the sparkling wine. Getting everything ready for the Thanksgiving meal. But before you do that, you got to set your fantasy team. Like Jay was saying so eloquently, he's going to give you 6. I'm going to give you 5. I'm giving you the Yahoo side. And I do it where, just to preface it off the top, I keep it under 20%. There's obviously a lot of guys, and we've mentioned them throughout the show. Jaden Reed, 42% roster. Hell yeah, I want Jaden Reed. In any size league, like I said, you're not going to get him in a 16 or 20. Absolutely not. You just no. It might be a struggle getting him in 12-man now as well as he's been playing. So 10-man might be about it. So the rest of these guys are more universal. Love those products. They leave me with a warm, fuzzy feeling. I'm going to buy Donovan some socks for maybe some socks with Christian Watson, maybe some number 9 Christian Watson socks. But yeah, keep it under 20%. So that's universal. And Jay kind of does a variety, so we both kind of do it different ways, but it gets the point across. And I like the way he does it too, where there might be a guy that's 47% roster. Hell, you could probably maybe get him. Maybe another guy will be 0% or 2%. So nice variety there. I keep it under 20. First guy of the week is Isaiah Likely, and we both know what Mark Andrews more than likely. No pun intended. More than likely out for the year, and at least for the regular season. Maybe Mark Andrews comes back in the playoffs, but that does fantasy owners no good. So let's just assume. Warning. Beep. Likely only 5% roster. He did a great job filling in last year. Every time he's filled in, I like these guys that are good at filling in because Warren kind of. He warmed up to people, from Pittsburgh. He warmed up to people, would, fill in here and there or get some extra touches here and there. And now he's the feature back with Pittsburgh. So likely the only reason he hasn't played more is look who's in front of him. Mark Andrews is a top 3 tight end. You could argue. So if he was with like the Bucks, I think he could be better than Cade Otton. He could probably start with the Bucks. There's probably half the teams in the league Isaiah Likely can start for. It's only 5% roster. You go and snag him up. At least he's worth putting on your bench, being your backup tight end at worst. Khalil Shakir, had him on the list a couple weeks ago. Probably should have kept him there. He's been playing damn good. I think he's taking Gabe Davis's place as the number 2 receiver in Buffalo. I really do. I think Gabe Davis has fallen out of favor. He's too inconsistent. Gabe Davis he's always to me like a better version of MVS. Just like a little better, just very sporadic, can get you 3 touchdowns, but how many times a year are you actually going to get that? And it's it's the 1 week you don't start him, the 1 week where he's sitting on your bench that he gets you the 3 touchdowns. So Shakir is more consistent than especially the last 3 or 4 weeks, been averaging a lot of double-digit fantasy weeks, only 11% roster. I like him a lot. Roshan Johnson from the Bears, I have at number 3. He's 20%, so he's right on the tip, as they would say. You know what? I think Foreman's going to be out. I've been wrong before. Sometimes guys play, and but we do this show on Tuesdays, so sometimes if he's doubtful, like maybe he'll play because it's a Sunday. This is Thursday, or I'm sorry, this is Sunday. I was thinking that the Bears played the Lions or something. I think Monday night against the Vikings. That's where they're playing. So there's a chance Foreman, because it's a 6-day window, there's a chance Foreman could play. But I'm going to lean on the side of caution, and I'm going to say it's Khalil Herbert and Roschon. So, and Roschon's been a reliable back out of the, catching passes. So at the very least, if Khalil Herbert's going to get the majority of the touches, Roschon's going to get you some grabs and maybe a few yards sprinkled in, kind of piece together maybe a 10 to 12 point fantasy week if you've got to start him. I know there's no buys this week, which is nice about Thanksgiving week and week 12. There's no buys, so you're not going to be forced to start Roschon like you would maybe week 13 with buys, but he's worth the roster spot. And if something happens to Herbert's been banged up. Obviously Foreman now. If something happens to the two of them, Roschon will get feature back touches. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. Michael Mayer, I had him in the same spot last week. I had him at number 4. He was at 10% rostered, gone up 1% to 11%. He had another decent week. Yep. There it is. Yep. Michael Myers or Mike Mayer. I wonder which is which. Another 8 points in this past week. So I love that music. 8 points this past week. So he's kind of been in that range. Ever since they let go of McDummy, he's kind of been in that 8 to 10 fantasy range, which is perfect for a backup tight end. I like my backup tight ends. There's some guys. Yeah, right. There's some guys that'll get you 3 points, 5 points. He's kind of fallen into that 8 to 10 range, which, like I said, I like for my backup, and that's where he belongs. He belongs as your backup tight end, behind a Kelsey, behind a, or maybe even filling in. Maybe if you need him to fill in next week if Dallas Goedert's still hurt from the Eagles, if you need Mayer to fill in, he can probably do that. And then number 5, this is kind of a deep cut. This is my own version of it. This is kind of my own version of a deep cut. Kenny McIntosh. I know you guys remember him from Alabama. But yeah, so with Walker likely being out this week, and it's a short week, Thursday game against the 49ers, it's going to be a lot of Zach Charbonnet, which I think Jamie's about to talk about. But Charbonnet and McIntosh, I think McIntosh is going to be kind of his sidekick this week, kind of be the second back. And this is his debut, basically. Debut for the season. So we'll see what he can do. It's just kind of getting ahead of stuff. Like we don't know we don't have any basis to go off of. So, we'll see where it falls, but you don't want to be left with your pants down. This guy comes out, has 9 carries, tears one off, has 9 carries, 82 yards and a touchdown. And everybody's like, who the hell is McIntosh from the Seahawks? You heard it here first from Out of Rhythm. So I put McIntosh at number 5. There's a couple other guys I could have put in there, maybe a few quarterbacks. Cade Otton from the Bucks at 20%. He's been really solid at tight end. So there's a couple other guys I could have put at number 5, but I thought McIntosh is kind of a deep cut just to kind of get the ball rolling in your guys' minds. Especially in deeper leagues, 16-man, 20-man. He could be worth a roster spot after this game against the 49ers. What do you think?
Yeah, not bad. I like Likely for sure. Get him in your lineup, go out there and get, as I would say is
just do it.
I like Shakir as well. I just think that Shakir's actually, I think, Shakir's the way he's been playing here the last couple weeks, I think he's a more reliable source, better player. Get Gabe Davis, just give him the boot already. Cause he's just, I've never really liked Gabe Davis. He's just one of those, he's been a boomer bust wide receiver. That's what he has been ever since he's kind of been,
yep.
He can give you one of the, he'll have these random games where he has, 6 targets, 120 yards with 2 touchdowns. But then he does, he pretty much exits stage right. He just next game he'll have 1 for 20. That's inconsistent. I just don't like it. Roschon, I haven't really been paying attention to the Bears too much because it's the Bears. Mayer, I for 11% roster, probably a deeper league, he'd probably be useful. Only because I think the Raiders are trying to change something around, and they actually are they won 2 in a row now. So I mean, if they can continue this, I mean, who knows? I mean, if O'Connell can actually, keep things rolling, Mayer could be, he could be useful in these little short dump off routes and stuff like that. Be a blanket for O'Connell. So I mean, not a bad option if you're in deeper leagues. And McIntosh, I mean, you never know. I mean, it's funny you say that. That earlier you're mentioning like he'd go off or have a rip off for 60 some odd yards. These Thanksgiving games are weird because these type of games actually happen on Thanksgiving. You're like, I should have played this guy, even in props. You used to be like, he could rip one off, have a touchdown, and it's just one of these things. But not a bad option at all. I like him. I mean, you had a couple other notable notes.
Well, I was gonna say remember a couple weeks ago, Keaton Mitchell. Like we knew about Keaton Mitchell, we knew how good he was, but the world found out about him because he ripped one off, and what? Who the people were probably watching on Red Zone or something like, who's this Baltimore back? Who's this Mitchell? I think they're gonna have the same reaction to McIntosh. They're like, who's this McIntosh? And you'd be the first on it, especially deeper league. Mayer and McIntosh, both of them. Deeper leagues, I would get on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, deeper leagues for sure. Yeah, I would totally be totally on them for sure in deeper leagues. But yeah, all right. Let's head over to some sleeper sides. Some sleeper waivers. So 10 to 12 man leagues. I got Charbonnet. I got him. He's 51% rostered. But with Walker probably being out maybe 1 to 3 weeks, very possible. I'd be going out and try to nab him up, especially if you're in fab leagues and stuff like that. Maybe good, if there's guys gonna be trying to chase him, you're probably gonna be paying a little bit over on him.
Blow your load. Do it.
Yep, for sure. I might have to try to snag Charbonnet as much as I can because I have some shares of Walker. So I'm gonna have to probably do whatever I can to try to snag him up. The Dortch. He actually was kind of, he was been irrelevant here this last, couple weeks. Hasn't really been doing much, and then all of a sudden, hold and behold, Murray makes him irrelevant once again, and the only reason why he was irrelevant it was because Wilson was out. So I mean, if Wilson is out, there's a good chance that if you need a wide receiver, Dortch could be the guy because I think he had a touchdown this weekend too as well. Jaden Reed I mentioned earlier in the highlighted players. I like him in some, so if he's out there in some of your guys' league, he's 43% rostered. There's a good chance get him on your rosters. Isaiah Likely, I like him just because there's Mark Andrews is out, and we don't know if Flowers even step up or if OBJ is going to step up. Bateman, we can't really trust Bateman. So I mean, all in all, I like Isaiah Likely in this hand, and if Gardner Minshew is out there, I like him overall. And some of these, I like him overall with some of these quarterbacks that could be out there. I like Minshew over Jake Browning. But yeah, Jake Browning's out there, 0% rostered. I just think Minshew's got some better weapons. I mean, Browning has some weapons too as well. But I like Minshew a little bit better. I mean, Minshew's been playing a little bit longer, and with Jake kind of getting scruffled around here this last weekend, it was him getting acclimated to the offense and whatnot. So we don't know if Higgins is going to be irrelevant or Boyd. So this might be only like a Mixon and Chase being irrelevant in these, with Browning being there. So I mean, you can say bye to Higgins, but I mean, other than that, these are kind of my guys for 10 to 12 man leagues. Yeah, I had some. I'll have some other notable notes, some other mentions here after I do my 16 team guys. Donovan says no Tim Boyle.
No, Tim Boyle.
Why would you want Tim Boyle? But I'll have a mention for him in just a minute. And he says trade alert. Is there a trade going down? You mean like the NFL
Trade
trade?
alert.
All right. So all right, guys. For you guys that are actually playing in deeper leagues, I did some homework for you guys, just a smudge, a little bit. Isaiah Likely, if he's out there, go snag him up. I mentioned.
Deep cut. Huh?
Yes. I am liking the trade to the Palm Her. He was 38% rostered. I think he's going to be getting a little bit more involved. I know I was looking at his target percentage, and it's been about 11%. So I mean, he's kind of been involved and not involved, but I mean, 11% is still being involved. I mean, that's almost pretty close of being, as Jaden Reed a little bit, even though they have Godwin and Rashad White and stuff like that. But I do like Palmer. He's had a couple targets. I think he had 4 or 5 targets here this weekend. Get the Greg Dortch that's only if Wilson is out again. I was going to mention Austin Trammell from the Rams, but I don't think he's not going to be I don't think he's going to be like worth a while at all. Salvin Ahmed. It sounds like Dolphins might be missing a few guys. I think from the sounds of it, Wilson might not be available this week, and I think Mustard might be a little injured. So there is a good chance that Ahmed might be seeing a little bit more playing time. 2% rostered. He did have a touchdown this weekend, and I like Shakir at 21% too as well. I already mentioned that I think he's going to be out playing Gabe Davis here pretty soon as well, and Jake Browning, 0% rostered. So I think he'd be the other guy you would be looking at with, if you're a barrel guy, and if you're a barrel guy, do you really want Browning? But I don't know. I think there might be a few other better options out there, possibly. But I'll mention that here just shortly. Just another couple small mentions, just in case. Keaton Mitchell might be out there. He got a little bit more work here this weekend too, as well. Tajay Spears, I would keep an eye out on Tajay Spears. Just in case anything does happen to Henry, because Tajay Spears he's been kind of involved a little bit here and there. OBJ is another notable note, and then Jaden Reed and the Great Dortch too as well. I already mentioned those guys. So if you're in 2 QB leagues, this is how I got just a couple guys that are ranked that I seen in my leagues. Minshew is out there, Browning, O'Connell, Ritter, and Tim Doyle. As I just listed, that's how I would rank them. So I'll just repeat that one more time. Minshew, Browning, O'Connell, Ritter, and then Tim Doyle at the end. But yeah, that kind of covers everything for deeper leagues,
Yeah,
sleeper leagues.
I was gonna say we should call him Tim Doyle. He's this guy. I forget who I was listening to. Might have been Clay Travis or somebody was reading off his college stats. Boyle, just awful. This guy, I think he had like 1 touchdown and 12 or 13 picks. Like this, Tim Boyle is gonna. I mean, it's gonna get ugly. If you got Miami's defense, I know Miami's defense hasn't been great this year, but if you got Miami's defense, that should be our number 1 pickup of the week. That instead of these players, it should be the Miami defense. They're about to do that. Tim Boyle. Well, what about Tommy DeVito, Eli? Tim Boyle has no business in the NFL. I don't know if he's Aaron Rodgers' secret butler, or if they were besties in Green Bay and he got him a job here or something. Just one of the worst quarterbacks to ever take the field. I'm sorry. Like this is gonna get bad. Jets. I mean, Zach Wilson must have. I know he played bad, but he must have really pissed some people off behind the scenes for them to start Tim Boyle.
Yeah.
I just had to get that out of the way. This guy's junk. Jake Browning, wasn't very good in college either. He's getting what's with all these mediocre college quarterbacks getting a second lease on life in the NFL now. Jake Browning, I think he was average at Washington. A few other guys, Minshew's been playing good, but he wasn't tearing up the world at Washington State. Like of all those quarterbacks you mentioned, you know what, Desmond Ritter. You might be surprised when I do my DFS bargains for old Desmond Ritter. Like maybe I'll have a place for him, but of all of them, you know what, like at least he's proven he's very inconsistent. But Desmond Ritter might be right behind Minshew in my opinion. I think he might be number 2 on that list because at least Ritter's proven that he can he's capable of having like a 25-point fantasy week. You know what I mean? Tim Boyle, come on now. He shouldn't even be like there's some practice squad. Joe Flacco from the Browns. You know, I'd rather have Joe Flacco, 80-year-old Joe Flacco than Tim Dan Boyle.
Oh, God, just before we started the show, I mean, you know, Joe Flacco, it just, it blows my mind to just think about Joe Flacco. I mean, like, come on, this guy was like on the Jets like practice squad or whatever, and they released him, and it's just like, I mean, why don't you just call up Philip Rivers? Why don't why don't you just call Tom Brady and have him, jump on with the Browns and wham bam, thank you, man. There's your championship game right there, and then toss out that freaking, Watson, all that money you spent to that jackass. I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh, just despicable, man. But whatever. Browns, you're gonna stink again. So what the fuck?
The hell are they got the best defense in the league, and like their rushing game. I mean, their offensive line must be good because there hasn't been a huge drop off with Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt from Chubb going down. So like they've got everything else you want, but they managed to fuck the quarterback situation up. Like just royally. Like how do you end up in this? How do you end up in a situation where all the available quarterbacks, you're calling up Joe Flacco? There was a photo of him, and he flies like we do. He was flying coach into Cleveland, and one of the fans was like, "Oh, it's Joe Flacco," kind of thing. Like he's just like, "Oh, what are you doing on this flight?" He's like, "Just watch the news." And then, boom, lo and behold, Joe Flacco is signed to the Browns practice squad. He's going to be starting games. Okay? This guy is going to be starting NFL games in a couple weeks because DTR ain't it. PJ Walker ain't it. Browns are going to get so damn desperate because they're keep winning games. They'll be 9-4 soon or something, and they're going to start Joe Flacco like week 15. Just watch. Just watch. Get him ready. Get him ready in time to see. It's going to happen. I can't believe it.
Oh, God,
that's enough of the waivers. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Tommy DeVito, get out of here.
All right, guys. I think this wraps up our waiver wire. This wraps up our waiver wire. So we'll be right back right after this.